Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back. It's more BTS America's grand final action. We're on our 4th edition of BTS Americas, where we have another $10,000 up for grabs. These two teams are battling it out. $5,000 for first place. Second will walk away with a $3,000 total. And to bring you the coverage, myself, KotLGuy, and I'm going to be joined remotely again from Blaze at Blaze Casting. Here we go, Blaze. Now game number 2, Shazam vs. Infamous. Infamous. It was well, let's not beat the bush here. It felt like a bit of a wonky draft. They continue to try to dictate their own type of game, this time pulling out the KotL, which I know I should always love to see, but it is hard to watch him, well, get absolutely destroyed over and over again. And then the Alchemist also coming out here. So what do you think Infamous are going to be doing for game number 2? Do they continue to play their own style, or do you think they might need to shape up a little bit more here?
I definitely think it needs a little bit of refinement, but I like the overall idea of the death ball status. I feel like TC has a lot of potential as the game goes onward to really just outfarm and outperform and really do more in the late game stage. When compare him to like Kotaro Hayama, who is really good at snowballing, really good at playing these core heroes that get very aggressive. So maybe not the Huskar, maybe see like a Chaos Knight this game or something, but just something that gets him involved quick and dirty very early on, and they kind of snowball and death ball and try to close out the game early on. With the Alchemist, like, you had some good stuff, but in general it seemed like it had some limitations. Atun wasn't, he had a nice mix of items, like he was able to fight and farm, but end of the day they weren't able to close it out. Part of that might have to do with the fact that the KotL wasn't really taken advantage of. I didn't really see too much blinding light coming through, and then Atos was built anyways, which takes away nearly half the value of that spell. So yeah, I just in general feel like there were some disconnects in Infamous's game plan, and while I do think they should play for an earlier tempo than Shazam, I also feel like the different set of heroes could do them a lot of favors.
So far it does feel pretty meta. They pick up the first pick OD, so that's good. A nice start. We saw how much work can be done. Last game, TC, I didn't see what the last score was at the end. 14, 15, 0, something like that. He absolutely put on a clinic with the OD there. So Infamous not only will be taking it for themselves, but they do get to deny TC for the potential of picking it up again. Now for Shazam, still plenty of big pickups out there. Could now go for an early Nature's Prophet pickup if they still favor the Invoker. He's out there. MSS did an alright job with it, but you know, it was nothing to really boast about. But here he'll give it another swing, and you know, as far as mid lane matchups go, Invoker's one of the best to go for it. Last game we saw Infamous try to pull out the Viper. It did do respectfully pretty good, but Shazam opt for the Invoker instead.
And now the question is whether they go for a ganking support or they go for the offlaner for Brax here. We already see the Beastmaster and Darkseer taken out in Phase 1. You mentioned the Nature's Prophet. Brax has only played that twice recently, and he doesn't feel confident on it yet. He feels like that's the hero that it'll take him a little bit more time to really get the hang of, to get used to, and then he'll be able to re-optimize it. Again, this guy's only been playing off lane for the past week. Prior to that, he was strictly a mid laner. So they do go for a kind of gank-oriented support. We did get to see some really good movement there with Fun moving in and mostly focusing on like early rotations, smoking, and just trying to bring his target down. If they can combo with the Sunstrike, Hex, Earthspike, all that good stuff, then they should be able to bring down the OD before help arrives. But help is going to be of a different color this time. It's actually going to be Doom picked up for Infamous, most likely in that jungle support role.
I mean, a different color for a lot of people, but for Infamous, they pulled it out both games in their series yesterday against Team Freedom, and we know how much of a domination that was, that series overall. It was just almost hard to watch, especially in game number 2. I mean, I wouldn't mind
that, right?
Yeah, they offlaned it in one of them. Maybe they did offlane them in both.
Yeah, I think it was like a Doom versus Spectre both games.
Yes, yes, you are right, man. That I remember the Infernal Blade hits onto that Spectre was just, I felt them. Somebody got hit, but I felt it. It was hard. And you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing that Kotaro CK come out again. They did have that together with the Doom last time. Perks my interest a bit here. They won't have the benefit of that Bounty Hunter, which they got so much track gold of. They actually banned it out themselves. Shazam rid of the Mirana, thinking that maybe Infamous will take a page out of their book with the Mirana OD combo they had in the last game. But I do have to say,
Reserve time.
I will hold Savage at a high caliber of a player and say he did miss a good portion of arrows. But, it's arrow gaming after all. You can never be for certain. Sometimes people always have the theory that pros sometimes are easier to fall for bad arrows because they're a bit more unpredictable and stuff like that. But I would have loved to have seen more astral arrow combos come out.
Sure. I would have to say that his contribution was not primarily from arrows. It was much more about the mechanism and the Guardian Greaves and the Moonlight Shadow and his ability to move his teammates on the map and when they're in position to sustain their fight. Generally speaking, Mirana's all about that skill shot, all about connecting with the arrows. It's make or break, especially in pubs. But in this case, I feel like they very clearly won the game with it. I feel like they were able to play in spite of that, and while it definitely wasn't his best Mirana game by far, it was definitely sufficient for what they were looking to accomplish with the hero, and still going to be seeing it banned out here because, again, that OD synchronization. So it's going to be, like you mentioned, the Bounty Hunter banned out. This is a hero that can be picked up by either side. Fun has been picking up quite a bit, and then, of course, we've seen it multiple times for Infamous as well, mostly Axel. So it's a very common Phase 2 pickup, very rare Phase 1. And even banning out the Ursa because Shazam have the first pick in Phase 2. They're a little bit worried about just being clobbered by the bear.
It does make you wonder now what the Kotaro pick is going to be even more so. I already acknowledged that I'd love to see the CK again, but with already getting rid of the Ursa here, I can't help but feel like Sven might be a priority grab. But a ban on the Spirit Breaker feels a bit peculiar here. Typically, Spirit Breaker has not popped up much recently unless maybe a good counter for something like a Bounty Hunter. But Shazam are fearful of it, and they will pick up a comfort pick for Savage. I said it yesterday, something he was very comfortable with at Cloud9, the Tusk, going to be coming out.
Yeah, so that should allow him to get in position to gank heroes like OD very effectively, even more gank-oriented than the Lion. He's going to be putting out a lot of early game pressure. Tusk plus Cold Snap equals usually a dead hero. OD has some nice defensive tools, but still going to be pressured back pretty early. And I'd say Infamous have to kind of go defensive with their next hero pickup. They have to go for a defensive support, maybe go for like a Disruptor, a Dazzle, something just that allows you to kind of counter initiatements and survive through these brutal ganks. But Infamous also are considering their option for Kotaro Hayama. Obviously, the two big pickups here in the pool are going to be the Chaos Knight as well as the Huskar. Shazam going to leave it in the pool and see if they have to play around with it, and if so, if they have the wherewithal. Obviously, you've got Sunstrike, you've got Walrus Punch, you've got some burst damage that doesn't require the magical damage type. But whether Infamous are even going for that kind of a strategy would depend if they go for a Dazzle with this next pick and they go for a CM instead.
Go for the CM. This also was along with the CK lineup that they did run yesterday. Does provide a lot of very good and adequate mana potential across the team, and typically has a good way to deal with maybe some, let's say, pesky Forge Spirits. Nothing too serious on the other side at the moment, but if they had something like the Enchantress or a Chen, she'd be able to have a good answer for it. But, if they need a CK, someone who typically is starved for a bit of mana, Shiori's going to be complementing that quite a bit, and is just overall been a good comfort pick for Infamous here. We look back to Shazam now, and it was funny you were mentioning the Huskar and stuff, and I was like, well, if they're going to go for the Huskar, then I imagine a Dazzle would be the pickup in that spot of the Crystal Maiden for sure, but it looks like Huskar might be taken out of the equation. So for Shazam, still need to get the Brax offlane grab. There's picks like the Tide Hunter still out there. No Darkseer, obviously, no Beastmaster this time. So, Nature's Prophet, though, had been out there this whole time, and it looks like he will be snagged up here for Shazam. You got Sprout, Sunstrike combos if they want to go for that, and overall great global presence to always be at the ready in a fight.
Yeah, so right now, again, Brax's record on Nature's Prophet is 0-2 in the past, year, but I'm sure he'll look to shape it up and look to develop this once more, and what better playing field than a hyper-competitive environment. You're the grand final of the BTS America's #4, but it's still, I think, a hero that can be dealt with rather effectively, and a hero like Gyrocopter with the flak and the cooldown is going to make sure that the summon factor is not going to be that big of a threat, that even if it probably hits that critical mass, the Aghanims, Octarine, they still have plenty of wave clear potential throughout the variety of heroes they're picking up.
Any chance this Gyrocopter could end up just going mid lane? We've been seeing a lot of Gyro versus Invoker mid lane matchups with the homing missile, and sometimes they break even, but also sometimes the Gyrocopter seems to kind of take over. Is that potential here for Infamous, and they can kind of do a bit of a swing around, or does OD seem to be essential for the mid lane?
I think that it's still definitely possible to go for the max missile. It forces the Invoker to go for an extra point in Quas, probably an extra salvage. So it's not like a hard counter matchup where it's like, okay, well now the Invoker can do nothing. But generally the Gyrocopter does pull ahead, and it is quite effective. So I like that idea. The question is whether or not OD or Gyro is more or less susceptible to the ganks from the line of the Tusk. I feel like Gyrocopter getting caught inside Snowball Shards is going to have an even harder time because he doesn't have that self-imprisonment. He's much more positioning-centric, and he's also lower attack range, so he's going to be more in the river more often. So while I feel like the Gyrocopter can levy that mid-matchup better, it also forces essentially a babysitter on that mid lane, maybe like an Earthshaker support.
10 seconds remaining.
Final ban from Shazam is
offlane Doom, A-lane OD.
5 seconds remaining.
Oh yeah, sorry, you cut out there, so I thought you were done. My bad. Just apparently team speak being fun.
Dire team.
Final bans will be the Ogre from the side of Shazam, and Infamous will rid of the Jug on this one. So Shazam will still need the TC pickup on this. Still a couple of decent options out there. If they want to go late game and add to the Global Spectre, is still an available option to them. TC has ran it quite a few times here in recent history. The Sven still stands as well.
10 seconds remaining.
Outside of that,
Clinks.
the Clinks.
All right.
Okay.
I like this pickup, but Doom is biggest weakness, and I'm assuming that is the offlane Doom for Greedy. The biggest weakness is going to be the low base armor. The fact is the Searing Arrows are going to chew into this Doom's health pool really, really quickly, and they should be able to actually force him back multiple times. He's not going to be able to dive. He's not going to be able to control the lane the way we've seen him in the past couple times. And I think Infamous might have to go for something like a Lich here, something where they can actually solidify that laning situation. Lich Doom used to be a very powerful dual lane combo that allowed you to contest the lane much more directly, but they go with the Chen. So, well, if there's a ward blocking out the creep camp near the Radiant Secret Shop, then it's going to be hard for the Chen to get involved in the Doom's lane, and as such, it should be on TC to put pressure back on the Doom and limit his early progression.
Yeah, Chen into a Clinks here. Well, TC will know where to find some easy death pack creeps, but it does offer a lot of sustain and some good aggression in the early laning phase. We don't even get to see Chen pop up that much here over in American Dota, but nonetheless, I guess at a time in need when it feels like you need to pull out the technicality of and the finesse of a Chen, Infamous will do so here. But if he's not, is it crucial for this Chen to be able to kind of be proactive in the early part of the game, or is it fine for him to kind of play it more of a greedy build-up, rush for that mech even faster, and build up the potential for a 5-man that much sooner?
Prepare for battle.
I feel like he's still going to make a couple of ganks happen here. He's going to go for the early smoke. I think it would be in his best interest to look for at least 2 kills by the 10-minute mark. But in general, he still can focus on himself in between. Like, he still wants to get level 6 at a really good time, I think is of critical importance, because getting that Hand of God when you're up against like the long-range global nuke of the Wrath of Nature, maybe the Clinks goes for ganks. Obviously, you've got Burst from the Tusk, the Lion. I feel that Hand of God is essential for this game, and you've got to get it up sooner rather than later. So Chen has to make time for himself, but it would not be remiss for Bang to still make a couple of rotations.
Does look like A-Tune will be going for the mid lane Gyrocopter here. He's got the Wraith Band and a shared Tango, so they do favor getting the homing missile build-up against the pesky Invoker, and it is definitely going to be Mojo on it with his Null and 2 shared Tangos. It's a matchup he's been familiar with recently. I feel like I've seen Mojo have to go against this kind of a matchup not that long ago, so we'll see how prepared he's going to be, and if it will require some additional assistance from, let's say, their Tusk to be able to kind of get the game back even for him. But for right now, it looks like no early extra aggression going to be coming out in this one. Runes will be split a piece. Maybe TC's trying to be a cheeky little guy, and he's going to go right on that rune spot here. Will he be able to snag it up? Oh, yes, he will. That is double runes for Shazam, and away we go, folks. It's game number 2 of the BTS Americas Grand Final. Shazam up 1 game already. Infamous, well, it's not required to get the win here as it's a full best of 5, but going into a 0-2 shutout will not lead to a very confident game 3, Blaze.
Absolutely, it's going to be very hard to come back from something like that. So Shazam starting off on the right foot, but still a lot of game to go. I mean, we'll see how well they're actually able to address the Chen in the early game. He's going to be able to get one hard camp available, but then the two central medium camps for the Radiant Jungle are blocked off. So it's much more beleaguering for the Chen to have to actually make his rotation to the safe lane and to gank there, because there's no creeps to farm on the way. It's a very inefficient route for him, and there's a chance he's even scouted along the way. So instead, he'll send the Hellbear Smasher mid, and then realize, oh, I have nothing to do here. There's actually no creeps for me this farm, and he might even look to make his way up top, where Greedy is currently solo jungling.
Yeah, double jungling happening here does pretty much make the lane very easy for TC, and TC is that kind of caliber player where he's not going to be missing a whole lot of CS, if any at all, if given the lane. So just expect him to reach max potential with that open lane. It is a clink zone that will require a little bit of a build-up, and unfortunately for Infamous, Bang was not able to get the best creep for that first little mid harassment. A Satyr would be the dream, obviously, but he will settle for what looks like the neutral now, and 8-2, and starts farming out the Rockets here. He's already got it at level 2, and we're already seeing the early presence of Savage here to kind of help out Mojo a bit.
I would not underestimate the Hellbear Smasher early game, man. Like, that is the old school Satyr. Like, that used to be the best ganking creep. You have so much damage potential, you get that slow, you get more hits in. Like, that creep is actually extremely powerful. It's just the power creep factor, quite literally, of how big the Satyr is right now. I would say the Hellbear is still a considerable alternative, and it did force the early salve on the Invoker. I'm curious, actually, if MSS buys more regen, because right now, Etun doesn't have his bottle yet because of the lack of bounty rune, but he is going for the max homing missile, and he does have the arcane aura to back him up.
It is really annoying. He is going to be a bit short on the mana at this point, so no more rockets to come unless he gets some extra regen his way.
Go
Top lane, it looks like they made their move for Greedy. The arrows will fly, and Fun does lead in with a bit of a Hex play here, but it doesn't really do a whole lot to Greedy. He's just going to be stepping back. He's already at level 3 at just over 2 minutes in. Compare that over to Brax. He's about on the same playing field for this one. He currently holds a 7-2 CS to Doom 7, so both offlaners matching up right now. Head CS gamers, though, are going to be both cores from both sides, so this game does seem to be a stalemate for now in the laning phase, but we still have plenty of early laning phase to go. We have yet to see, like, Bang on his Chen even use his smoke and make that first big, attack. We'll just have to see when it's going to come.
He's poking and prodding at the mid lane. He's got that Dark Troll Summoner now, kind of trying to do what he can, but overall, it's just been a pretty weak start for the Chen. In general, like, you're expecting Infamous to have an early experience per minute advantage because of the Devour from the Doom, because of the Chen getting his independent juggling, even CM frostbiting in the jungle while the OD handles his opponent 1 versus 1. Like, there should be a pretty significant experience advantage for Infamous, even as early as 3 minutes, and we're just not seeing it. Right now it's pretty neutral, and it's showing that Bang is having some trouble making his moves connect.
Now they have used the smoke here. Greedy will wait a little up north from this mid lane for an opportunity to kind of make his approach here. Might have to wait for the missile. The missile will go out. Can they get close enough here? Mojo's testing it a bit, does move forward. The missile will be there, and that will be a quick snag of the snowball, but yeah, Mojo's very low. A few more right clicks could do it. He actually has the fairy fire, but it's not going to be enough. Greedy will pick up the first blood, then gets the nice smack of the knife right there onto Savage, and just look at the burn damage fly on through. Will they be able to get the grab on this one? No more mana for Etun, and not another attack. Going to be the miss. Greedy not going to be able to connect. And it looks like Savage will thank his lucky stars as he walks away with his life.
Yeah, that's a combination of factors, but most recently a patch that made it so that if your attack takes long enough and to connect, that it actually just straight up misses if there's a certain distance. It kind of fixes these kind of wonky, like, if somebody blinks away, you can actually still get a hit in if your animation had already started. But in this case, because the Doom has that longer attack range as a melee hero with a beefy weapon, it actually turns out to be like just the one hit that they needed to kill off Savage. Though the Invoker is still a great first blood pickup. That definitely is worth the smoke, definitely worth the Chen's time, and he has found himself level 3. Going for a rather interesting build, the 1-1-1. I love the early penitence with the Doom, though.
We'll see if he can find some penitence used with it as he begins his offensive jungle rotation here. Opens up easier opportunities, and let's say if he wants to approach that mid lane. But for now, it looks like his business could be shifted all the way towards the top. Mid lane, A2 continues to dish out the rockets, something that's got to be pretty damn frustrating here to MSS. It has forced Savage to continue to be by his side. So MSS is trying to get to his level 5 while A-Tune is about to reach level 6. And the difference in CS is 14 to Gyrocopter's 29, pretty much doubling it up right now. This is going to be a pretty difficult start for the Invoker. We'll have to see what kind of recovery they could make elsewhere. Instead, Nature's Prophet 15, and he's still got a ways to go.
I feel like they could actually go on the Chen here, because they could go for the Nature's Prophet, the TP scroll in and get him in position to go for this fight. The Chen's already out of position by far, but it's just going to be the Sunstrike and the stuns to set up Clinks for the last hit. So all in all, still the Chen very far forward, trying to farm from a dire jungle, and as you can see, the dire observers are going to have none of that. They're scouting this entire area, and they're even going for the missile that's coming out from A-Tune. Like, he's trying to contest this area, but they've got it locked down in terms of vision and in terms of just heroes patrolling.
And it will allow them to kind of secure the perimeter, but that's mostly for the top area. Bottom lane, OD still continues to match up with TC in the farm game. What has he just picked up here? It looks like on the way, he's going to be going straight for the drum build-up, so nothing too far-fetched there. An idea of a minus did tickle the back of my mind a bit, but it looks like he'll opt for the drum build-up instead, so it's going to add some extra potential for him. It hasn't been a game where really Brax has needed to also be globally involved. It does feel like this is on the low side as far as, you know, rotations. Is that part of the game plan there, Blaze, or has it just not been necessary?
Oh, smoke on smoke, both breaking, but TC having much more damage to bring to bear against the Chen. He goes down very quickly here. But
for the follow-up, Infernal Blade comes out, but Greedy eats a huge amount of damage, and, well, there's Brax. He will show up now, pops out the Sprout and some Treelings, but they are going to be able to get their own response. They take down the big mighty Tusk, and Brax will be quick to now make his retreat. Still ends up a favorable fight for Shazam, making it 2 for 1, and they'll go back.
To answer your question, I feel like it's mostly because Brax's just been unable to actually make that move to other locations. He's been frequently hit up by Katara's Arcane Orb, lacking the intelligence, having to TP back to base a couple of times here. Just really trying to do whatever he can to stay on the lane has cost him his ability to really take advantage of his global presence. A nice little part of that is the Observer Ward that was placed out here by the Crystal Maiden, not going to be deorted, just outside of tower range, and always allows OD to get that one more attack, and even under Fog of War. Nighttime will not prevent the OT from zoning out the Furion fully, but Furion's going for the gank.
There's a run in, and they will approach Kataro from all fronts. The Finger even going to be committed from this one. That Lion gets his level real fast, and even TC going to be showing up. It's 4 from Shazam here in the bottom lane will lead to a swift takedown of both of them. Infamous will lose another 2. Shazam now pull ahead 5-2 at this point. And Greedy, Infernal Blade attack onto Mojo here is going to force out a Forged Spirit, but Mojo eating lots of damage to Scorched Earth. Continues to burn away at him. Right click, and now some Sunstrikes. Here comes Fun now rotating in, and they look like they've been able to turn it around. The Nature's Wrath will come out, but it's not going to be able to get the finish. Greedy will get the TP away.
Man, these Wrath of Natures have been absolutely on point for Brax, though. He's getting like maximum damage on every one of them on the targets that he needs. This is actually where haven't been so certain about Brax's early laning play. His fighting is amazing.
Oh, this could be back-to-back takedowns for Kataro. He shows up and thinks about like pressing towards Brax, but Savage and TC did not go far from this bottom lane, and he is quickly punished. And it becomes pretty obvious that Infamous don't have any sort of vision on their side of the jungle. So.
And TC, on the other hand, is about to plant a ward.
Yep.
He's going to see everything that Bang does from now on.
And for Bang,
Radiant structures
he's still able to kind of pull out his arcane boots, but wasn't the fastest Chen game for him. He's still trying to even get his level 5. It's just
I actually think that like that's going to be a liability for him. Now, like if you look at what's happening, everybody's just dying without getting their spells off. Like they're going to have a massive mana pool, but really that's about sustained fighting where you can get 2 or 3 volleys of spells off, but everybody just dies instantly. They barely get 1 spell off, and then they're dead from this Tusk, this Clinks, this Lion just ganking and bursting heroes. Like the Arcane Boots in a normal game of Dota makes sense because like you're all okay, well this spell costs X mana and so on, that my creeps need mana, but in this, like he's put in a significant amount of gold. He's put in 1,300 gold into an item that will not increase his effective HP and he'll be finding it very difficult to survive if the momentum keeps rolling for Shazam.
Yep, and certainly a race for level 6. You're not being able to get spells off. You need Hand to God so they can survive to get some of them off at least, and he's just got to find somewhere to kind of spend a little bit of that me time. Looks like he'll make work in the jungle, and Infamous will try to find their own momentum here. I mean, they're in fighting shape now. Attune has his level 6 at the ready. So does Kotaro. After Kotaro is able to finally get a little bit of work in the bottom lane, he now makes the rotation with the rest of his team, who have already smoked up Blaze. How important is it, you feel, for Infamous to make something out of this? Because I feel it's pretty damn important.
I definitely agree here, but TC just breaks the Crystal Bait on the high ground, and they're paying it out as best they can, but they really can't do anything further. They might still go on the Invoker. We'll see how well MSS reads the situation, but everybody pops out of the smoke now. It's quite clear what they're here to do, and although Doom still has a great flank, I don't see him getting the Doom off the way he intends to.
We'll have to see here. Attune makes his approach parallel with this tier 1 tower. They've committed hard for it. We'll be zoning back Savage with a couple of homing missiles here. Nature's Wrath will fly, softens him up a bit. Brax is pushing that bottom lane into a tier 2 all the meanwhile. Cold snap already on Greedy. He can't get off the Doom, and he's going to get blasted apart right now. Snowball flies through. He's hectic to make it away with the help of a drums, but not going to be able to make it out. Now they got Attune under the Sprout, under a Sunstrike. The right clicks will come through. He's going to try his best with the Rocket Barrage, but it is not going to be good enough. Kotaro, though, will be able to get something. Taking down TC, but they lose all 5 on the side of Infamous. Shazam with a huge boost now, 12-4, and a gold swing, well, about 1,000 to their advantage, 2,500 for the fight altogether.
Axel has to jump bottom and use his ultimate just to clear out this wave. The bottom tower was being pushed by the Furion Treants at the exact same time, a siege creep as well, taking this tower down to 240 HP in bottom lane while they were dominating the team fight. So CM desperately has to keep the tower alive, and in the end, they just lose everything. The big thing there is Greedy getting cold snapped. Oh, he was so close to getting the Doom off on the Invoker, and from there, it's actually a pretty easy rundown for Infamous. They drop everything they have on the Invoker, bring him down, and continue to build momentum unless the Invoker buys back. But here we see a completely different situation because the cold snap with that slightly longer cast range and canceling multiple animation attempts from Greedy.
Now Shazam, after a huge morale boost like that one, feel confident enough they will smoke up and go on the move. They even have Roche potential. With that medallion done on TC, it looks like they will use it on the big guy. And with the help of some Forge Spirits here, Shazam make their move for the Aegis, even solidifying their soon-to-be mid-game advantage when we're only 13 minutes in. 5K net worth and XP already on their side. We have to see if the team fight is going to be coming online at all for Infamous, because the opportunities just have not been there. What is it going to take, Blaze, for them to kind of find that bit of a jump? You know, maybe finding a straggler on the side of Shazam, but if they're looking to go into a team fight, really, where does their proper initiation even come from?
Ooh, not from here, with an OD getting picked up, chain stun before he can even self-imprison, and being last hit by Brax's ultimate. But no, if there's a sentry ward that the Clinks walks over and you get like a frostbite on him, I think that's how you want the fights to start. Just kind of catch them off guard when Shazam aren't fully ready to engage, and start on the Clinks most likely, because he is not necessarily a glass cannon when his ultimate is active, but certainly a hero that puts out too much damage for you to really bear. You have to focus him, you have to kind of chain disable him and focus TC down early, because otherwise you hesitate for even a few seconds and suddenly the line's there with the Blink Dagger, the Tusk is there with the Snowball, and you've got a full 5-on-5 in your hands.
And any game plan where you're hoping for a bit of a misstep, getting caught out from a sentry ward and having the team not nearby is probably not the ideal game plan you were hoping for here, but Infamous are already starting to fall back on what was plan A to plan B, and could start off with the Chen not really being able to be a big impact in the early game, and now even as we approach the mid game, just really no spells being able to come out from the side of Infamous, none that could really lead to a bit of devastation from the side of Shazam, with the exception of Kotaro getting that ult onto TC to get the finish. It's not like we're seeing the big Dooms able to come off yet, and now as they finally get the finish on the Roche, man, it feels like they were working on that for a
and the gyrocopter's caught out in the ice shards! Oh man, he's actually completely isolated, can't go on a single target here, can't wrap back around on the Lion, and they're just gonna get away scot-free with the Roche. Like, this is something they can't afford to let happen. Doom is a hero that can deal with a finite amount of heroes. You have 5 or less heroes, you do one, that is taking one off the table. When you got Aegis, then your Doom becomes that much less effective because their job is to delete exactly one hero from the game, and Shazam just added one to their arsenal by getting this Aegis the Immortal up on the Invoker. So MSS is going to be playing very confidently in the next couple of exchanges, and we are going to see the jump top.
All right, on the Greedy there, set up with that Blink Sun coming out from Fun. Once this guy picks up a Blink on his line, he's not afraid to put it right to work, and there we see Greedy going to be going down. He's got a couple of little brothers here living on his name, but they will be soon to fall, and now we see Shazam with the back-to-back games where it feels like they've really been able to take off, and the momentum here is just all for Shazam. An Orchid, suit in order here for Brax, and no sort of defensive capability to shrug that one off here from Kataro. He can't really go for the Yules, and a BKB seems to be off the future. A-Tune, top of the river here, right on the rune spot. Going to be caught in the Sprout Sunstrike. Sucking away the mana is going to be fun, and A-Tune stuck barely alive here, but he's able to make it away. He will even be sent back to the fountain, and all will be well. But Shazam are not done there, Blaze. They've now made their move. It could be back-to-back takedowns for Greedy if they can fix it, finish this one. Brax gonna get doomed up.
Denied.
He's already low on life. Can they get the deny? Mojo, do
Easy.
him a favor. Don't flub it up.
Easiest deny of your life. That's so good. And not only getting the deny, wasting the Doom, and killing the Doom twice, but I also killed the OD in his own jungle. Now, they're just getting caught out left, right, and center.
Hand of God not even going to be good enough to stop that one. Fun looks like he almost handed over his own life for it, but he will be able to make it away. They even take down the creeps here. One will be able to make it out. Nope, never mind. He gets uppercutted, he gets destroyed. Oh, Shazam now. 17-4. As they begin to move down and approach this tier 2, they still hold that Aegis here. I don't think there's going to be much to be able to stop them. Infamous really will need to dig deep at this point.
A huge part of this is just the ward momentum that I've got. Right now, Shazam have had this ward for a full 6 minutes here on towards the Ancients. And of course, you've got the ward more recently placed that set up the kill on the OD in the Western Radiant jungle. These two very far forward wards not being dewarded is going to allow Shazam to just find more kills. I mean, they've already found 17, and they're just going to continue to rack that up as they have the ability to initiate. They have either quick feet in the planks or the mobility skills and items in the Tusk and the Lion. They can always get where they need to set up Sunstrikes, to set up teleports. Like, they have the ability to take the fight to the enemy, and more importantly, they have the vision to secure it. That I would say the biggest thing would be this Ancient Ward, because the CM placed 2 sentries to try to take care of it, and both of them missed just narrowly. So what turns out to be a very classic ward spot that's been used since TI1 is actually going to be staying for its full duration for Shazam.
Oh, that's TC with a Desolator, with a Medallion, and he makes OD look like a flying float. It's just absolute paper. And Shazam now 4-19 as we get another finish here. Fun getting the finish on the Crystal Maiden. I imagine the finger was used, and then she just quickly went down without being able to get off any sort of spells. TC takes his business towards the bottom lane. It's now tier 2. That's going to be going down. One more outer tower stands, and in fact, Infamous, before there's going to be any sort of meme play here with the score, they said we've had enough, and we were ready for game number 3.
They have shut the dream down, but no, it's definitely time to call it. At this point in time, they were looking for some kill momentum, at least something out of the first 2 Dooms of the game, and starting to be able to kind of push with the Chen creeps with the Gyrocopter. That was the entire idea, was to get some early momentum, get a couple of early objectives, at least contest the first Roshan, but Shazam were just able to do so much across the map. While Brax did struggle a bit in the laning phase, that was probably their only setback, and it turns into one of their greatest strengths as Brax ends the game 5-1-7, able to use every teleport other than the ones in the lane to just find kill after kill. I gotta say that the one thing that just impressed me the most was his use of the Wrath of Nature there, because we've seen it on plenty of players, especially like Admiral Bulldog has been classic for really getting the value out of that, but somebody who hasn't played that much of this hero recently, showing that he still has his chops. Brax was able to do a lot this game, and it only took him a few minutes out against an OD for him to find his feet again. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what they bring to game 3, and hopefully Infamous make it a ball game and take us as far as they can, game 4 or 5.
We can only hope that we're going to be able to go into like championship rounds here for our grand final, but it's already looking like Shazam, confident as ever, en route to a 3-0 sweep. We will keep our fingers crossed. Maybe Infamous will be able to shake it off and come back and stretch this one out. But we'll have those answers coming soon. We'll cut to a break. When we return, myself, KotLGuy, and Blaze will be back for game number 3 of BTS America's 4 Grand Final, Infamous vs. Shazam. See you soon.